Turn that off. It's time for No Pad Sports Talk. Stay tuned as two brothers bring you the latest from your Michigan teams and beyond in hockey, baseball, football, and more. Let's get started. Here are your hosts, JD and Steve.
Welcome to another edition of No Pad Sports Talk. I am one of your hosts, JD.
And I am Steve. And today is Wednesday, leading in tomorrow being the beginning of a week 2 in the NFL. And we're here to talk about Lions Seahawks.
Yes. Time to get excited.
You know, I mean, we had to come back down from we just beat the Kansas City Chiefs, go back to work, and now, you know, we got the Seahawks coming to Ford Field.
I can't wait for that. It's going to be loud.
It is going to be loud in Ford Field. So, for those of you who have not heard, that may not be in this area, and you didn't know, Ford Field actually sold out on season tickets, and there is now a waiting list for season tickets for the Detroit Lions. That is the first time ever for Ford Field. So, obviously, there's a lot of hype coming into this year, but it is certainly going to be loud at Ford Field. I mean, they had fans at Ford Field for the away game when they were playing in Kansas City last Thursday night.
Well, even in Kansas City itself, you started hearing like "Let's go Lions" and other Lions chants.
Yeah. And then at the end of the game, when they were celebrating with their Lions fans, that win, that was just
that was awesome.
It was I was trying to think of a better word than awesome because it was just better than awesome.
It was. You're right.
But I don't have one, so awesome's just gonna have to work. But yeah, so Seahawks are coming in. Got Geno Smith leading the Seahawks on offense. And I don't know. What do you think? Like, in the past, Seahawks are a tough team. Usually they're really good defensively.
Yep. Well,
right.
Before we get in that real quick, sorry, brother, but
okay.
Just real quick.
No, it's okay.
Because I have to make an important PSA here. Very important. So, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, right? He is asking all Lions fans that's going to the game to wear a blue ski mask. So, it's, so anybody out there listening, you're going to the game, buy a blue ski mask right now, get it, and wear it for the game. Because that's what he wants, that's what he's asking for. And look, us as fans, as Lions fans going to the game, I'm not, but I'm just saying, if I was, I'd be right there in a blue ski mask. That would be awesome. That's something nobody else is doing, no other team, and I think that would look really cool.
It's definitely better than the garbage bags on our heads for the Saints fans back in the olden days.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, it is. But like I said, I just had to make that PSA, so anybody out there listening to us that maybe hasn't, seen it in other sources, to wear a blue ski mask. But going back to what you were saying there, brother, about they usually have a good defense, I do have news about their defense.
Okay.
So if anybody was listening to us back during the NFL draft, there was one player that I was pretty high on, and I wanted the Lions to draft, and that was Devin Witherspoon.
Yeah.
And Seahawks ended up getting him, and he hasn't made his debut yet. He's been injured. But it looks like he's going to make his debut against the Lions. So not only are they getting him back from injury list, but same thing with Jamal Adams. And he is a big part of that defense. So, we know what the Rams did to the Seahawks, but, presumably with Witherspoon back in the lineup and Jamal Adams, it's going to be a lot harder to throw the ball.
Right. It's going to be a different game, right?
Yeah.
And all I can hope is that you're going to see a different Marvin Jones. Uh, I get we've all had bad days, and it try to put that behind us, but we got to have a Marvin Jones step up,
Mhm.
uh, and make some of those catches that he wasn't able to get last week. So we're gonna definitely need that this week. You just the NFL is so good, right? Talent wise,
Right.
right? That the slightest mistake can turn a game, right? And I know
Well,
we saw that last week. When the Lions with the Chiefs, but the Lions were able to power through. So we saw a different kind of game from the Lions, which is awesome. But again, you can't make mistakes, especially at home. You don't want the crowd to get out of it, right?
right.
You want them to be in there. You want to be in full throat. You want to make it hard for the Seahawks offense, right? Just like any team that ever goes into Seattle and the 12th man is just roaring in that open stadium, and they make a difference. And Lions fans, we need you to make a difference.
Yes, for sure. And you know, but going back to the mistakes, there was definitely some mistakes on defense for the Lions. A couple, blown coverages. You
Yep.
saw guys, talking back and forth, like, what's going on, what's happened, and um, but again, we talked about from the beginning, right? The first team did not play, so we
Correct.
expected a lot of, this type of, errors, I guess you can call it, right?
Yeah.
Mental
I mean,
mistakes in a way.
absolutely.
So,
We're just,
but you,
we're just glad it was the the Chiefs weren't able to capitalize
yeah, the
on
defense still held
those.
strong. Yeah,
Yes. So that you and I have always talked about a bend and don't break defense and how much I I'm not a huge fan of that, right? Letting them march up and down the field all day and then you're getting them close. I'm about pressing the pedal and just being right in their face play after play after play, right?
exactly.
Making
Yes.
them work as hard as they have to get everything. So that's what I want to see, and I think we can get that. Our front four stayed super fresh against Kansas City. They're going to need that same thing this week.
Yep.
It
Yep.
looks like most places have them as the favorite by like five and a
Okay.
half. Is what I see. But again, you know, sometimes that's kind of rare territory for for the Lions. So going in to being the favorite. So um, we gotta keep Geno Smith in front of us. Put pressure on Geno Smith. Work the running game. So the linebackers are going to have to play a heavy part in that. As the defensive line is holding up the offensive line. So I think if we can do that, I know Lockett got hurt last week. I don't even know if he's playing, if he's even on the injury
He's
report.
not on the injury report, no.
Okay. So I know he missed some time at the last game.
But
Uh,
what I talking about what you were saying about the defensive line, um, the Lions are definitely going to have the advantage there. The Seahawks lost both of their starting tackles. So, they're trying to sign some, like, aging veterans to come in and replace them.
yeah.
And, so again, as far as defensively for the Lions, the defensive scheme, that's going to kind of play right into what they want to do. Lions love to, rush four if they can, get away with it.
Right.
Um, and of course they'll send a fifth. They don't really, send six or more very often at all. It's they try getting the quarterback with four or five, and but with the offensive line being banged up already, um, that's definitely going to be a huge boost to the Lions. That defensive line's hungry after all the pressure that they put on. Um, what's his face?
Right.
um, Mahomes, right? All the pressure
Mahomes.
put on Mahomes,
Yeah.
and not getting them down. So
Yeah.
they're gonna be hungry. They're gonna attack. The And Aiden Hutchinson, man, if that guy has another game like he did versus the Chiefs, he might get
Yeah.
3 or 4 sacks.
Yeah.
Um,
And you got to think about it. Geno Smith, while he can move around, he's not a Patrick Mahomes. He's not, he's older, right? But I mean, like you said, Aiden Hutchinson plays like he did against the Chiefs, and man, they're going to be playing behind the sticks all game.
yep, yep. What was nice about the game versus the Chiefs, of course, was their Lions run defense. They really did make the Chiefs one-dimensional.
Yeah.
And if they make, and don't get me wrong, I mean, my brother said it, right? But the Seahawks are a dangerous team. They have a lot of talent on
Yep.
offense. Between Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet, right? There's talent, all right? So make
Yeah.
no mistake. But if you can go ahead and make them one-dimensional, like what happened to the Chiefs, yeah, that's going to be great. And same thing with like the offense, Lions offense. They kind of said it, but they really have to get Jahmyr Gibbs more involved. I just the guy, I think it was precautionary with Jahmyr Gibbs. I think he kind of twisted an ankle, and they're trying to protect him a little bit at the
Yep.
start of the season. But ultimately, that guy's a game changer.
Yeah.
You gotta get him on the field. You gotta get the ball in his hands.
Yeah. Do you think it had anything to do with like trying not to use him in so many different situations so that teams have a lot of tape on him? So like early in the season?
No, I don't think so.
No? I
No.
mean, I think about stuff like that where he's that kind of weapon, and you'll find new ways to use Jahmyr Gibbs, right?
You will. And
So
Dan Campbell, that is a mindset like, look, we're gonna
yeah,
you're gonna know what we're gonna do. We're still gonna do it.
yeah.
Like we're gonna enforce our will on you.
I'm going for it on fourth down at my 17-yard line.
So gutsy.
I mean,
Love
it was
that. Love
17.
that.
Anyway, I knew it was on our side of the field, and
Yeah, it was on our 17. You're right.
yeah.
Um,
So,
but yeah, I mean, with the Chiefs, you want to come out with a victory. You're not. I mean, that's why we call it the fake punt, right? We're not. I don't think we're worried about tape on our players, right?
right.
So, but no, I think it honestly was just kind of precautionary with Gibbs. But
Okay.
I think this is the perfect time to unleash Gibbs.
Okay.
I just think the matchup favors that. Our offensive line versus their defensive line, their strength, lies in their secondary and with their linebackers coming in second, and their defensive line is probably the weakest part about that defense.
Mm.
And so our offensive line, I 100% believe is going to dominate their defensive line. And you get a helmet on Bobby Wagner, like Jahmyr Gibbs. I mean, he's
Right.
he could go for a while.
Right.
So, but that's why I think this matchup favors Gibbs. Outside runner. Let's do it, right?
Yeah.
And obviously that plays into the Lions' hands anyways. Once Lions establish the run, there's very I don't want to, because I don't want to sound like a homer, but as far as running a play action, Goff is one of the best in the league. And get the running game going, play action comes next,
Yep.
and then the Lions, the defense doesn't stand a chance at that point.
Yeah. So I am looking at an injury report, right? And Taylor Decker did not practice on Wednesday. So that's today.
Yep.
An ankle injury. So that has me a little, Frank Ragnow too, right? Because he's a beast right there. We're talking about, you know, are two pillars on the offensive line, right? You know, you get two of the three, right? Because you look at Sewell, Decker, and Ragnow, like those three pieces right there. And I mean, like you said, our offensive line is really good. But I'm hoping that that's just more precautionary, so they're just kind of resting them for Thursday for the walkthroughs.
Well, Ragnow, he was on the injury report, but he was still a full participant. So
yeah, it was full participant. I see it now. Yep, I take that back.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, the Taylor Decker, again, we have to see what happens with him.
Yep.
But he did play the entire game.
He did.
So hopefully the ankle's not going to be anything too serious that he can still play through.
Yeah. So I'm actually a little excited, to see this Michigan State versus Michigan connection. You know, I want to see Aiden Hutchinson just run flat over Kenneth Walker. And Kenneth Walker's he's no slouch, right?
No.
He's a big boy. He's my kind of running back, right?
Yep.
He's big, he's powerful, and he loves running between the guards, right? Like he would rather hit you than go around you.
Right.
And so I am interested to see Aiden Hutchinson. I'd like to see him sliding back down again and kind of moving around from the defensive tackle, defensive end, especially on like maybe pass rush, right? Where you have an extra defensive end now, so now you're getting that three-face defensive end, getting that pass rush right up into Geno Smith's face. It's gonna make him get rid of the ball, and then we got our linebackers back there. Big Jack Campbell, 6'4". I think he's probably got like a 6'7" wingspan, tip to tip. So I mean, the man covers a lot of space. Right. So he's my kind of linebacker. And he moves really well for such a big man.
Now, keep in mind about our offensive line. If Taylor Decker can't go, we will likely see Penei Sewell slide over to left tackle like he did previously. And my guess is Matt Nelson will slide into the right tackle spot. So Nelson played, pretty decently when he was in there during the Chiefs game. So, and he's been on the Lions, for quite a while now.
Right.
And he has subbed in quite a bit, for injury. So, look, you still have, four. Even if Decker doesn't play, you still got four legitimate, really good starters on the offensive line.
Absolutely. And I'm gonna like to see if the offense runs Montgomery and Gibbs and St. Brown. Like get Laporta, like have everybody out there, right? Because one, they can run it with three of those guys at least, right? St. Brown, you've seen him come back like in the motion and line up in the backfield. Jameer,
correct.
You got Montgomery. Any three of those can run. All of them can catch, right? Like, how does the defense adjust to seeing those kind of weapons as they come across? Because Sam Laporta, he's an inline guy, so he can come in. He's going to chip the defensive end, and he's going to slide out into the flat. He's going to be an outlet for Goff. He's come up the seam. Like the possibilities are endless.
Yes.
With how they can use the people that they have on offense and how creative they can be in using them all.
Laporta showed a lot, against Kansas City. I mean, 5 targets, 5 catches. He was able to move the ball. But I think more impressive than that, in my opinion, really, one, he seemed to be a lot faster than I had expected when the ball was in his hands. And secondly, when you look at a scouting report, almost any scouting report out there, you're going to see that he was not graded highly on his blocking ability. He was always looked at as, a receiving tight end. But
Correct.
holy crap, did he make some good blocks,
Yeah.
including an awesome block, to set up the game clinching touchdown.
Right.
And look, that guy, um, I, it, I'll admit, right? Like I was not looking for a tight end in the draft at all.
Right.
I
Well,
was
we've been burned on tight ends.
right. We were, and I did specifically say I didn't want a tight end in the first round. Of course, Laporta didn't go first round, but
Right.
he did go second, and it's still a little iffy. I can't help it. Like it's just, but look, he's looking like a legitimate TE1. So
Yeah. I mean,
I'm
when you put him
it's
up
one game.
other tight ends that went before him,
Yeah,
so Dalton Kincaid, there was another guy. Because Dalton Kincaid, he had an okay game, right? But Dalton Kincaid is just a different type of tight end. You're not going to see him line up on the end of the line, right? He is going to be strictly that pass catching guy. And like you said, Laporta, when he came in motion and then chipped that block going up into the hole, and Montgomery came off his backside,
yeah.
that was just
Well,
poetry.
and the linebacker that he blocked, name's in my mind right now, but he's one of the best run defending linebackers in the game. Like
Yeah.
that was an impressive block.
So yeah, very exciting. All in all, just what this game's going to look like. So keep your emotions in check, right? That's obviously the big thing. Play your game, know your position, right? Be where you need to be. And everyone that's not starting, that's coming in on support role, be ready, right? Know where you have to be so that everything runs good, right? Because I would love to see what the Lions can do when they're clicking on all 8 cylinders.
Yeah, I mean, it's that again, not only the defensive line, right, but we started seeing some major improvements in the secondary.
Yeah.
Like, look, here's what I got to say, and I didn't say this during our podcast when we talked about the Lions win, like after it
Yeah.
happened. But I want to say this now. Everybody's complaining about Mahomes and he didn't have Kelsey, right? So you got to put an asterisk on it, and I hated hearing that. I already mentioned that. Let me ask you this, brother. If we were to take a poll and we were to say, who is the better quarterback, Pat Mahomes or Matthew Stafford? Who do you think would win?
Matthew Stafford or Pat Mahomes? I
Yeah.
have to say Mahomes would be. If you
Now,
took
don't you think that'd be a landslide? Like the majority of people would just vote for Mahomes being the best, but way better than Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. They're complaining that Mahomes didn't have his best receiver in Kelsey.
Yep.
Stafford did not have his best in Cooper Kupp.
It's a very
And how
true
many points did
statement.
Stafford put up?
35? 32?
And
Something like that?
so then if Mahomes is better than Stafford, and Stafford's able to put up that many points without his top receiver,
Yep.
shouldn't Mahomes be able to at least match that?
Ah.
So
You think so?
So
Now-
my point is this.
Yep.
The Lions did something, right? That's my point. The Lions did something. It's not, the reasoning isn't, oh, they just didn't have Kelsey.
Right.
Screw that. That's stupid. And
Right.
anybody that says that, you're an idiot. Can't help it. Bottom line, you're a moron.
Right.
The
So, while we appreciate the comment we got on the video that we were talking about, where we talked about the Lions and the Chiefs, and one of the comments, I think the guy said, well, he didn't have this guy or he didn't have that guy, right?
Mhm.
And we're like, Okay. That's next guy up.
It's not an excuse.
Patrick Mahomes. If Patrick Mahomes is a Patrick Mahomes that everyone thinks he is, then he makes everybody around him better. Right? So if that's the case, step up and make everybody better. Tom Brady did. Right? Tom Brady didn't have these amazing star receivers. Right? He didn't have a whole lot of supporting cast around him. He had people that used to come to him, right? Here and there, but he made those guys better. So, make the next step.
Who is the So if I were to ask, who are the top 2 receivers on the Rams? Puka? Really? Like,
Yeah.
who would have ever have thought that some guy named Puka on the Rams was going to go with 10 for 120, basically, right? Tutu Atwell going 6 for 120.
Yeah.
Nobody.
A
Nobody.
rookie and a second-year guy, right?
So again, I don't want to hear anything about the drops on for Kansas City. I don't want to hear about him missing Kelsey.
Yeah.
Like, the bottom line is, if Mahomes is better than Stafford, then Mahomes has no excuses because Stafford put up 30 points.
All right. So to me, what they're saying is Mahomes isn't the guy. Travis Kelce's the guy, and Travis Kelce's who makes Patrick Mahomes look good.
There you go. There you go.
All right. That
Yeah.
to me, that's what they're saying. Without using those words, that's what people are saying.
When Allen St. Brown missed a couple games, and we were down to our like 4th and 5th receiver because all of our receivers got hurt, did anybody say, "Oh, the only reason he beat Detroit is because they had nobody to throw to"?
Yeah,
No.
no. They just said, "Well, it's the Lions, so we're supposed to beat them."
Like, there's no excuses. Like,
No excuses.
I'm sorry. There's no excuses in football. Like, you play the team when you play them, and that's it.
Yep.
Nobody, like, if Lions would have lost, right? I might have said, "Hey, I think the being rusty contributed to the loss."
Oh,
right, because
absolutely.
they didn't play.
Sure.
Because they didn't play their starters, right?
Yep.
But am I going to sit there and say the Chiefs weren't deserving of the win just because the Lions didn't play their starters? No, but that's what
No.
everybody's saying about the Lions. I mean, they're not saying those exact words, but that's what they're
Yeah.
implying.
Right. Which is why they didn't play 4 full quarters because, well, they were rusty. There were things that weren't clicking. I think the play calling was all like there were a lot of things that the Lions, as a whole, coaching staff and players,
Absolutely.
had a week, 10 days now. They'll have 10 days to have improved upon and come home and ready to just flatten the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Right?
You know, I was thinking about this.
Make the
And,
Seahawks that long flight home at 0-2.
Usually playing a Thursday game is rough, right? Because you usually play on Sunday, and then you got to come back on Thursday. And Lions know that all too well, right? Because of the Thanksgiving Day game.
Exactly.
But playing the first game of the season, it's actually kind of an advantage, don't you think? Playing on Thursday,
Absolutely.
right? Because now you have that longer week to recover, longer week to scout the Seahawks, come up with a game plan. It's almost like having a miniature bye week before playing your opponent.
So not only did they get a chance to actually break down film after watching the Seahawks, they could actually have watched the Seahawks.
Right.
Right? Like watch the game as it was happening and it was unfolding, let alone getting tape and then breaking it down later, right? So it's a huge advantage having played the first game of the season and had those 3 days to kind of rest, watch, do some film, do what you got to do, to heal, right? Take care of some wounds, and then come back on Monday ready to go.
Right.
Right. So big advantage, and I'm honestly surprised that it's only a 5.5 point favorite for the Lions. knowing all of that information, right? I think
Yep.
maybe like Vegas and all these betting sites are just tentative because it's still the Lions,
It's the Lions.
right? So at 5.5, they're like, they're still a favorite, but you're gonna take. To me, I'd be playing the over under, right? Because I think they're gonna be over, but
The
I'd take the over.
I think the Lions are going to score more points than they did against Kansas City this coming game. I think that, especially, let's just say, and knock on wood, hope, right? You hear me say, you hear me doing that. You hear that.
I do.
Um, everyone stays healthy in this game.
Yep.
Jameer Gibbs, the wide receivers, like everybody stays healthy. Goff,
Yep.
and like if that's the case, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if 30 more points was put up.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
Against them.
I was actually gonna say 30 points, and I think the defense gives up no more than 10. So that's where I'm at, right?
So you're 30-10.
I'm 30-10.
I'd be at 27-13.
Okay.
Yep.
I believe in our front seven, right? And being able to stop the run and apply pressure. That takes some of the pressure off our secondary, who, as they're still gelling and getting to know what, getting a good feel for each other.
Yep.
So I'm in 30-10.
I think we're gonna see our new rookie linebacker Campbell play more snaps. I think Jameer Gibbs is gonna play more snaps. BB there. The guy is right now. He's looking like the steal of the draft.
Yeah.
Because he was solid. Of course there was some still minor miscommunications in the secondary.
Yeah.
But that dude, I'm loving me some Brian Branch. I can't help it.
I mean, he's a hitter. I mean,
Yes.
he's a baller. I'm just gonna go. He's a baller.
Every phase.
Yeah.
He's got good hands. He'll hit. He's a solid tackler. That's hit, right? But he's a solid tackler.
Yes.
And he can cover.
Yeah.
And
So
the guy's great.
yeah, you talked about injuries. And week 1 was not kind to starting players last week, right?
No.
We saw some. Joe Mixon is out, Achilles. Aaron Rodgers out, Achilles, right? And then both of those came up, and all of a sudden they're all talking about the turf versus grass, right?
Yep.
So to me, it makes sense, right? That turf doesn't give, right? When you get that foot in there, it's gripping, right?
Yep.
Where grass and natural grass, it's gonna give, right? And that sod will slip, and everyone talks about how bad some fields have been, right? I think it was the Cardinals. No field how bad it was out in Arizona.
I don't remember.
I can't remember, but there was a couple of it was just horrible, and they were talking about how we just redid it, and then I'd still rather play on that, right? Still rather play on that. So, because that's where the Super Bowl was, in Arizona, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or was it? Yeah. Or was it in Vegas? No, it was in Arizona.
No. Yeah.
And they were complaining about the field during the Super Bowl. Anyway, so my thing is, I think grass is the way to go. And now, how does that work in domes and having natural grass? Right? The turf makes the game faster. I understand that. But if you're talking about player safety, I think grass is the way to go.
100% it is. Yes. Yeah. I don't think it can be. I mean, the evidence that we have, I know some of it, superficial. I get that, right? But at some point, you just have to, you kind of just have to look to see what you have.
Yeah,
Because how else are you really going to um, test that? Like how are you going to run any sort of like actual data sets? You really can't. You just have to
no.
see what. I mean,
You got to make the change and
yeah,
run the numbers.
you gotta make the change. It's
That's
just
it.
I don't think that you're ever going to be able to get sufficient data without some of it, kind of being iffy. You just have to make the change because,
That's it.
and I
Yeah,
don't know what they're going to do for domes, but obviously I know like some sort of like lights, artificial lights can help it grow,
sure.
stuff like that. But um,
I'm sure there'll be a special kind of grass that can grow in low shade indoors. Because you think of places like Ford Field, they're going to pull it up, right? When they run concerts, they're going to pull it up. When they do, you know, dirt bike, motocross, monster trucks, all that stuff that they still run at these stadiums. So,
right,
you know, the nice thing about Arizona's is that the whole field rolls outside, right? So it can still get some sunlight and it's that natural and you can bring it back in. So obviously here in the city of Detroit, that's just not feasible, right? This is not something you're gonna see.
it'd be cool though.
Yeah, oh, it would totally
Um,
be cool, but it's definitely, there's no space.
right,
So,
yeah.
but I, if there's a way to make turf more like grass, so it gives, right? I, somebody's got to be thinking of it.
I hope they are, but I think if there was a way, they'd have done it. I mean, they've
I
tried
don't know.
different things already.
Yeah,
I mean,
I mean, we're the kind of
um,
turf we are now, and not AstroTurf, so the players aren't running on this fake grass on concrete, right?
yeah, it's got that little like chopped up rubber, like old rubber
Correct.
tires or whatever in there
Yep,
to try to help with the cushion and all that kind of
absolutely.
stuff. But
It's the same field. We
yeah,
even had that kind of field at my high school, right? It's a beautiful type of field. It run. I mean, it's amazing. But if injuries pile up the way they've been piling up, I just, the Players Association is going to have to figure something out, right?
oh sure,
And
sure.
work with the owners and the NFL
But
getting involved about player safety.
so looking at the game against Seattle, we kind of already gave our predictions as far as what the score is going to be.
Yep.
Um, so go ahead and give me your player of the game offense, player of the game defense, etc. Like who would you pick for that?
Uh, I'm just gonna go the easy play on offense, and I'm gonna go Amon St. Brown. I think he's gonna have
Okay.
120 yards and a touchdown. That's
Sounds legit.
Yep. On defense, I think Aiden Hutchinson. Again, I'm picking the fruit, the low hanging fruit. Aiden Hutchinson has 2 sacks, uh, and a fumble recovery.
All right. I'm gonna go a little bit different than you. Probably not a big surprise.
I
I'm
wouldn't
gonna
expect
say
anything different, but okay.
I'm gonna say offensive player of the game, Jahmyr Gibbs. I think he's gonna do over 100 yards combined between rushing and receiving.
Okay.
Um, I think that on one of his um, receptions, you're gonna see him break loose. It's gonna be for 40, 50 yard gain. Um, and I think he's going to get a touchdown for sure. And defensively, I'm going to go with a little bit of a dark horse here because even though Aiden Hutchinson's a smart pick,
Yep.
going against the offensive line, I know he's going to be hungry. Um, I'm going to go with Jack Campbell.
Okay.
I think he's going to get more playing time. I think he's probably the best coverage linebacker we have. But I think he's going to be used a little bit differently in this game too. I think when we look back at this game when it's all over, you're going to see that they're going to actually have him rush the passer in this game, whereas Obviously, didn't do that in Kansas City. So, um, he may get a sack, but I think overall it's just going to be just his overall constant disruption.
Okay.
He's going to be a disruption in the run game. He's going to get a couple tackles for loss. He might finish, double digit. Well, he will finish double digits. With tackles, assists, etc. And he's going to have a pass or two defensed. I think that's what we're looking at for Jack Campbell, and
All right.
and there we go. So,
Well, I'm going to give an honorable mention because I almost went this way. I'm going to go with Sam Laporta. He's going to have 65 yards and a touchdown.
okay. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if his touchdown came from, say, like a kind of like a sneaky trick running play, right?
Yeah.
Whereas before, like we've seen it, and Lions love doing this. Lions love showing the same play,
Yep.
but they have different result.
Yep.
So I wouldn't be surprised, just like the game-winning touchdown,
Yep.
where Sam Laporta came over and he blocked, where this time he comes around and they give him the ball to try to get in, the short yardage situation for a touchdown
Yep.
from like the 3-yard line or something. I watch for it. I would not be surprised.
Yep. So, and I wanted to say more like 70, 75 yards, but I'm going to try and be conservative. So I'm going to go with 65.
What? You're forever the optimist.
I'm the forever optimist, but I'm trying to be a realist. Trying to, keep,
That's my job. You trying to take my job now?
No, I'm taking your job.
Ah.
So, you want? I'll say 80. Give him 80 yards and a touchdown. Because you're talking about him getting a rushing touchdown, not even a receiving touchdown. So let's go.
Yeah.
So you kind of took my job.
I'm just helping you with your prediction.
A little role reversal. So, at that point, that means Jared Goff's going to have closer to 350 yards rushing. He'll have 3 touchdowns and no
And like
picks.
4 touchdowns.
So,
Hey, I'll take it.
yeah, right?
Yeah.
You heard it here. I don't think anyone else has put anything out. We're first.
But no, what do you guys think? Who do you think the MVP is going to be? Let us know in the comments.
Yep.
It'd be kind of cool to kind of read and see where your guys' heads are at.
So,
But yeah, I think it's going to be a great game though overall. I can't wait to watch
Yep.
it. It's going to be really exciting. I'm going to be out of my seat I think a lot during this game. So,
yeah.
maybe we even be doing something like a like tweeting during the game or something.
Yeah.
This game.
I was going to say,
And,
JD and I is probably going to be on the phone talking. We'll be talking and jumping and hyping, and they might kick me downstairs into the basement.
I think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So, but look, let us know. I would love to hear from you.
Yeah.
Definitely get us in the comments. Look us up social media. Love to see what you have to say.
All right. So that's it for today, guys. Have a great day and go Lions.
See you next time.
Thanks for listening to No Pads Sports Talk. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. While you're at it, help spread the word by leaving a rating and review wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow us on social media at No Pads Sports Talk.